Secretary of State Blinken is in London today following that high-stakes meeting in Beijing with China's President Xi Jinping yesterday, trying to stop the downward spiral in the U.S. relationship with China. Taiwan was, of course, a center issue for them to talk about. And they did not agree on resuming military-to-military communications, the regular hotline that used to exist to avoid miscalculations. Blinken has said that is critical to avoid any potential accidental conflict, particularly over Taiwan. NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer asked Secretary Blinken about his discussions with President Xi about Taiwan.
One thing that we've tried to make clear is that at the very heart of the relationship between China and the United States when diplomatic relations were established is our understanding that differences with regard to Taiwan will be resolved peacefully.
What are the chances of that? Today, the Council on Foreign Relations is releasing its new report on U.S.-Taiwan relations in a new era, responding to a more assertive China. And joining us is the former Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Susan Gordon, and the former Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen, both co-chairs of an independent task force on Taiwan sponsored by the Council on Foreign Relations. It's so good to see both of you. Thank you so much for the report. Admiral Mullen, talk to us about your concerns about how likely it is that there would be conflict between the U.S. and China over Taiwan.
Well, I think it's, Andrea, increasingly likely. The worry, and you used the phrase drifting into war just before you went to commercial break, and certainly that's part and parcel of this as well in terms of the overall assessment. The report lays out actually a pretty significant part of it is history, and I think that's really important. It's an enormously complex issue that has evolved over the last 40 to 50 years. The context has changed because Taiwan is now leaning much more democratically. They're prospering because of a booming economy, and they're the center of the earth with respect to manufacturing semiconductors, which are vital to the globe. And they're moving in a direction and supported by friends in the region where they haven't been before. So things have changed, and because of that, you know, the road to a peaceful resolution, I think, has gotten narrower and narrower, which then begets the requirement to have the leaders talk to each other, President Xi and President Biden, to make sure that we actually don't end up in a conflict, which would be devastating for the world.
Sue Gordon, of course, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs was a user of intelligence. You were in charge of, for years, in the different agencies, the analysis, all the work that was done. And from your perspective, and as the co-author of this, how concerning is it that in the coming years, I think Bill Burns told me last summer, within the next 5 years, that there could be conflict there as Xi's power changes and as their economic problems increase, and again, as democracy proliferates in Taiwan.
So great to see you, Andrea. I think a couple things to keep in mind. Number one is the prospect of military conflict there is devastating, and so doing all we can to try and forestall it is the right thing. When you look at it from China's perspective, really only Xi knows what his intention is. But if you look at the observables, what you have is statements on his part that he believes that reunification is an issue of nationalism that shouldn't be passed on. You see increasingly coercive acts from China toward Taiwan. And I think you also just see growth in their military capabilities that were not present even 10 years ago. And then finally their actions globally, but particularly in the South China Sea. So what you see are statements, actions, and capability. Does that mean that she has decided how it will be resolved? It does not necessarily, but I think that's really where our report was trying to focus is, so take this moment and then do our job to try and forestall that outcome and to change his calculus against anything other than peace.
Admiral, what could we do if, given the proximity, what if Beijing decides and takes military action How would America stop them? The president said that we are committed to defending Taiwan.
Well, I think if you sat down with the admiral who was in charge of the O plan, if you will, or the plan, if there is a conflict, he needs to be, Admiral Aquilino, he needs to be ready tomorrow to do this. And I know his focus and the focus in the Indo-Pacific region has gone up dramatically from where it used to be. There's an awful lot we could do militarily to stop the Chinese. It shouldn't be lost on anybody that any kind of landing, amphibious landing, it's the most complex military operation I'm aware of. So there's no easy path here for China with respect to that. Part of the worry is, at least our report lays out our belief that deterrence is actually failing. It hasn't failed for obvious reasons because we're not in conflict, and that we need to build up that deterrence in a very strong way so that the Chinese leadership will never decide now's the time to go to war and take Taiwan back. We support the One China policy, which is the peaceful reunification. That's what has been in play for 40 plus years, and we would like to see that continue.